again, we need to look at the situation and say, okay, what is the worst possible scenario? Obviously, the worst possible scenario is that the dollar collapses and it becomes worthless, and nobody has confidence in it anymore. China, Asia, Europe, Russia, and all those other countries that hold the United States dollar in that debt as a form of wealth, which it is not because it's backed by nothing. If the dollar crashes, where is your wealth going to go? I've had the opportunity that I got to live in Korea for 12 years, and they went through a currency crisis, and their monetary system and their fiat money system of the won went through the roof. And so when it just spiked up and was like 2,000, maybe 2,500 won to the dollar, I can't remember exactly, I took my American dollars, bought Korean won, so I got a ton of won for the dollar, and then later after the market corrected, I switched over and I was able to purchase a lot of dollars. Makes a lot of sense. But what happens when those currencies, which are backed by nothing, fail? You can't trade something that's worth nothing to something else that is worth nothing, that is backed by nothing. So the question is, what is the most stable thing that you can put your money into? Obviously, it's not the stock market, because the stock market can be swayed by a mere news anchor giving a false report or somebody giving a biased opinion on a company. The stock can go up and down, and without there be any factual evidence that the company is doing poorly or not. We also see a lot of companies are cooking their books. So we see AIG, we see Enron. We're going to see a lot more of the housing debacle and the mortgage crisis. We're going to see more in consumer spending, and consumer credit is going to get hit hard. We're still going to see adjustable rate mortgages adjusting throughout 2009 and 2010. I think it kind of peters out at around 2011, just before 2012. But where does a person put their wealth? I believe, now this is just what I think, due to the track record of silver and gold that has lasted for thousands of years and it has never failed. Yes, price goes up, price goes down, just as with anything else. But it has never failed. Fiat currencies that have failed have failed. And here's the thing, is that if the American dollar fails, if it collapses, like we've seen in like Argentina and other countries, the Weimar Republic and places in Europe and in other depression type scenarios, what was the fallback? What was the stable? It was gold and silver. I mean, that's it, hands down. There was nothing else. Yeah, there's the food and the water and the guns and the ammunition, but after that, you can only do so many things. There's a video, it's called, Gold for Bread in Zimbabwe. Take a look at that video. That video is very eye-opening. Now, we also have to take into account that the United States is not like Zimbabwe. We have a big, huge welfare system in place, so that's going to hold off a dollar crash if there is a dollar crash. But look at what they're falling back to. They use their money, the Zimbabwe dollar, it's worthless, and they use it to actually hold the gold that they have and wrap it up. So it's not the dollar that's important, it's the gold that the dollar is holding. And unfortunately, the United States has gone off the gold and silver standard, and we're going to pay for it. It's that simple. We're seeing a ton of stuff as far as the bond market. The government is buying more bonds and buying these assets and these bad assets from the bonds, the banks, the credits, the auto union, AIG, insurance, housing. And I really don't think Obama understands what is going on. I don't think his cabinet and his team of professionals, I'm sorry, I don't want to laugh too hard, I don't think they understand at all. When you buy a bad asset, it stinks. Think of it this way, if you have a house and you have a dog that lives in that house, and that dog craps in the house on the carpet, you've got to get rid of it. You got to clean the carpet and get rid of that crap and throw it away. And I think that's what our government administration has come to the point of where they're saying, well, the government's going to buy all these bad assets. In other words, the government's just picking up all this pile of crap, and they're collecting it and saying, see, it's okay, we've taken care of it. They haven't gotten rid of it. So in other words, it's still stinking, it's still rotting, and you can't get rid of the smell. I mean, you can print as much money as you want, you can spray as much air freshener inside the house as you want, but that stink, that crap is still there. And it's going to have an effect, and eventually people are going to say, you know what, I'm not going to come over to your house anymore because it stinks. I think if something isn't done, and we continue in the direction that we're going, that the American dollar could fail. Things that will slow down the possible failure of the American dollar. I see the collective, where the government is basically buying banks, buying shares in the banks, and that'll slow down the coming collapse. Buying bond markets, getting into the auto industry and buying shares in that, buying up all these bad assets. All that is doing is just buying time until the inevitable happens, which I think could happen. And I'm usually the guy that says the glass is half full and not half empty. But with that said, the responsibility for you and me is to provide for our families, to protect ourselves, and to provide, later on, to come through this recession, depression, whatever it's going to be, come out the other side and be able to continue life and follow the principles of the Constitution for life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. A bunch of people I've noticed are leaving comments saying, gold and silver, oh, it's BS, it's just a bunch of hype. Okay, my question is, what else have you found that has held its worth for thousands and thousands of years? I just want to know. The dollar is, last time I heard, was worth about 4 cents. By Obama and everybody and all these bailouts and the Republicans and their bailouts and the things that Bush did, all devalues the dollar. When you print more and more money, it makes the dollar worth less and less and less. So what are you people doing with your wealth? For those that say gold and silver is BS, where are you putting your wealth? Eventually, yeah, you can only buy so much food. But if the economy does turn around, and here's the situation, those things come back down. Ammunition comes into supply, food comes back into supply, guns comes back into supply. So those prices go down and comes back to normal pricing, and it goes down. You're left with a lot of food that you can't sell, and so in other words, you've lost your investment on those items. So what are you going to use that is going to hold its worth and be a hedge against inflation, recession, and depression? That's the question I have. The only thing I've found is that it's gold and silver. There's a bunch of other stuff I could probably ramble on about, but I just wanted to kind of go on to that and say that, hey, gold and silver, if you haven't done it, it might be something to look into. Pretty soon I'm going to be doing some videos on long-term food storage. And I've also picked up an XDM 9mm subcompact, so we'll take a look at that in future videos, and a bunch of other stuff. So some more shooting videos, hopefully that'll come up. So take care, God bless.